I ain't get to tell you. I ain't get to tell about Udi. Then.
I swear you.
Then I gotta talk about that. You told my
Damn, bitch.
I gotta die if I tell what happened.
Give me my phone.
That's crazy, y'all. I ain't really looking behind this, so y'all won't know that tea right now. Mark done got quiet. Where he at? He right here. He getting mad. He don't like the truth coming out.
On June 14th, 2025, thousands of people watched as Zaria Carr and her husband Shemarcus engaged in what seemed like just another Facebook Live argument. Cheating allegations, petty fights, the typical toxic couple drama. But then Shemarcus said something chilling. He threatened his wife in a way that sent a wave of tension through the viewers. What seemed like an empty threat turned out to be far more sinister. Shemarcus meant every word, and he had already begun planning. Just hours later, Zaria would be found dead, but she wouldn't be the only one. The twisted truth that would follow would shock everyone, leaving one question: what happened in those few hours that led to this unimaginable tragedy? Before we get into the heart-stopping events that took 2 lives, let's rewind and take a look at how a love story, seemingly full of promise, turned into something no one could have ever predicted.
Say something else in my life. Bitch, sit back and listen. Sit back and listen. You ain't gonna make it out the door, and I'm gonna do it to you. So the best thing for you to do is up.
Zaria Khadijah Carr was born on December 13, 1993 in Georgia. She was a woman who fought fiercely for her family, especially her 2 children, one of whom was an infant at the time of her death. Zaria was not just a mother. She was a person who was deeply committed to her loved ones. However, her life was far from simple. Beneath her outward appearance of strength, Zaria lived in the shadows of a toxic and abusive relationship that she couldn't quite escape. Zaria's relationship with Shemarcus Jamil Carr, the father of her youngest child, had been tumultuous from the very beginning. For years, she was caught in a cycle of love, violence, and reconciliation. Despite the repeated abuse, Zaria couldn't break free from the hold that Shemarcus had on her. She stayed, believing she could make it work, or perhaps hoping things would change. Zaria's co-workers at the Hyundai plant where she worked knew the strain in her personal life. Her workplace was a place where whispers of their volatile relationship circulated, but like many people in toxic relationships, Zaria kept returning to the very man who caused her so much pain. On the surface, things appeared normal, but the reality of their relationship was far darker. Zaria's family, though they knew about the abuse, were limited in what they could do to intervene. Like so many victims of domestic violence, Zaria didn't fully escape her abuser's grasp until it was too late. The fateful events of June 14, 2025 began to unfold in the afternoon. By 2:57 p.m., Zaria had dropped off her baby at the babysitter's house. She had paid for the babysitter to watch her daughter for 24 hours. Zaria had even made a final post on social media at 10:12 a.m. that day, expressing a sense of both freedom and fear, and that this was why she was leaving. It was clear from the way she reached out to those she trusted that she was planning on leaving Shemarcus for good. But unbeknownst to Zaria, Shemarcus had already discovered she was in contact with other men. Shemarcus, always suspicious, had gone through Zaria's phone and found evidence of her conversations. Fueled by jealousy and rage, he made the decision that would change everything. Later in the day, Shemarcus turned off Zaria's phone, which was registered in his name, after seeing the messages from a man at the Hyundai plant, a possible love interest. In a violent outburst, he locked the screen door behind her. Zaria, who had lived there for years, was trapped. At 7:43 p.m., Zaria returned home only to find the door locked behind her. She had to knock to be allowed in. Shemarcus was ready for their confrontation. As soon as she knocked, they began arguing. Zaria, having endured years of emotional and physical violence, tried to defend herself, but the situation escalated rapidly. Shemarcus once again used physical force. Zaria, who had endured so much, struggled to defend herself. Despite her attempts, Shemarcus beat Zaria until she lost consciousness.
And
She thinking it ain't. She think it's a game. But when you sit here, for one, when you playing with a nigga that's beneath me, or even if the nigga had more than me, you know what I'm saying? You go back to my hometown. I don't give a fuck if I fuck his mama. It ain't your job to go back and goddamn, tit for tat. I'm finna get my lip back. You know what I'm saying? So I blame. Any man would. You know what I'm saying? So there, that's what happened. Boom. So now, I can't go back to my job. Lost my job. Everything. So of course, it got so bad. It got so goddamn bad that I couldn't goddamn do shit. So now, when I beat her ass and I'm on the run, she come out to tell me everything. You know, she hot. She telling me everything. Now she spoiled.
Nah, you know you fucking
police looking for me and everything, right? Boom. Y'all stay tuned to this. This finna get deep. I ain't sparing shit. I'm telling everything. I'm exposing myself. I don't give a. I'm exposing myself with this. So here it is. Here it is now. I come home. You see that pussy down there?
It's that.
She can't keep it between the legs, but this is the thing about it. Now y'all see why she don't want me to get on the live. That's why she trying to goddamn overtalk me. Say something else in my live. Bitch, sit back and listen. Sit back and listen. You ain't gonna make it out the door, and I'm gonna do it to you. So the best thing for you to do is up.
I ain't get to tell about Udi. Then
I swear you.
Then I gotta do like that. You told my
Damn, bitch.
I gotta die if I tell what happened.
Give me my phone.
That's crazy, y'all. I ain't really looking about it, so y'all won't know that tea right now. Mark done got quiet. Where he at? He right here. He getting mad. He don't like the truth coming out.
He did nothing to help her. He didn't call an ambulance, nor did he attempt to resuscitate her. Instead, he did something chilling. He left her there, unconscious, lying in their home. Zaria, in her final moments, had no one to help her, no one to save her. The last communication she made before her death was a message on Facebook Live. She shared with the world the pain and frustration she had been dealing with. She expressed that she was afraid for her life. At the time, no one realized how serious her fear was. They assumed it was just another social media post in a cycle of online attention-seeking behavior. No one took her cries for help seriously, and that inaction would cost her her life. Zaria was left unconscious for over an hour before she was found, and by then it was too late. Shemarcus had already made his escape in his car, a Dodge Challenger, leaving the scene moments before the police arrived. By 9:30 p.m., law enforcement responded to the scene of the domestic disturbance. Zaria's body was found, but the truth of how she had died was not immediately clear. When authorities were dispatched to the home of Zaria and Shemarcus, the initial reports came in that Zaria had been found unconscious inside their residence. The 911 call had been made shortly after the violent incident. Police were already on their way when the security camera footage from a nearby store saw a Dodge Challenger leaving the scene. This car would later be identified as Shemarcus's vehicle, which was seen leaving the residence just minutes before law enforcement arrived. When the police arrived at the home, they found Zaria unconscious, and there was no immediate clarity on the cause of her death. It wasn't until much later that the full extent of the violence that had transpired became clear. The police began an investigation into what had happened at that time, but many of the key facts had not been fully revealed to the public. The investigation into the events that transpired at the couple's home was complicated by the violence that had taken place prior to that evening. On the day of Zaria's death, the authorities learned that Shemarcus had been involved in violent altercations with Zaria before. In fact, just a few months earlier, in January 2024, Shemarcus had been arrested for battery after a violent incident in which he physically assaulted Zaria. However, despite these past incidents, Zaria hadn't fully broken free from him, and Shemarcus had continued to manipulate and control her. But Shemarcus wasn't done. After leaving Zaria unconscious in the house, he made a decision that would seal his fate. Instead of calling for help, he fled the scene. He drove away in his Dodge Challenger and was later found over 60 miles away in Wayne County, where he shot himself as law enforcement attempted to pull him over. Shemarcus, unable to face the consequences of his actions, ended his own life just hours after Zaria had been found.
Now at 7 o'clock, the search for answers to what happened to an Emmanuel County husband and wife. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation telling us that Zaria Ross was found in her home Saturday. Her husband, Shemarcus, shot himself over an hour away.
Security camera footage shows a vehicle leaving this house just minutes before authorities arrived. The food mart that I'm at currently, they say that vehicle was a Dodge Challenger. That's the same vehicle the GBI says Shemarcus Ross himself in, an hour and a half after his wife, Zaria, had been found in their home. This security camera footage from Sing Food Mart across the street from the home shows a dark-colored Dodge Challenger leaving around 9:27 p.m. Authorities dispatched there 3 minutes after that. Nearly an hour and a half later, and over 60 miles away, Wayne County Sheriff's Office found Shemarcus' vehicle, the GBI saying he shot himself as authorities tried to pull him over, later dying from his injuries. Zaria was 27, Shemarcus was 36. Both lived in Twin City. Wayne County Sheriff Chuck Mosley confirming to me that Shemarcus' was a suicide. While they investigate it further, the GBI medical examiner is working on an autopsy for Zaria. In Twin City, AJ Sisson.
Despite the tragic end to Shemarcus' life, the investigation was far from over. The authorities still had to piece together the events that led to Zaria's death. They needed to determine if Shemarcus had been solely responsible for the violence or if there were other contributing factors at play.
FBI is investigating a death in Emmanuel County. Around 9:30 last night, the Twin City Police Department and Emmanuel Sheriff's Office say they were called to Fifth Avenue about a domestic disturbance. Deputies say when they arrived, they found 27-year-old Zaria Carr unresponsive. Carr was later pronounced. According to the GBI, her husband, 36-year-old Shemarcus Carr, was missing along with Zaria's actual car. Just after 11, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office saw the missing car and attempted to stop it, but deputies say Shemarcus was inside the vehicle and they even tried talking to him. Shemarcus then shot himself and from his injuries. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office is investigating Shemarcus' death and the GBI is investigating Zaria's death. We'll be back after a short break.
One of the most surprising aspects of the investigation was the role that spiritual beliefs and spiritual warfare played in Shemarcus' mindset. In the weeks leading up to Zaria's death, Shemarcus became obsessed with the idea that Zaria's family was using spells and witchcraft against him. He sought out a tarot reader and paid for a reversal spell, believing that Zaria's family had put roots on him to keep him broke and struggling. But even more disturbing was the belief that Shemarcus had a murderous history. Obi Wilson, Shemarcus' best friend, had been murdered in 2017. His death had never been fully solved, but there were suspicions that it was an inside job, someone who knew Obi's movements and could track where he was. For years, Obi's family had suspected Shemarcus was somehow involved in his death, though no charges had ever been filed. Zaria, in her final days, had been trying to leave Shemarcus and escape the violence, but she also knew something darker about Shemarcus that terrified her. Zaria knew Shemarcus was capable of murder, and she feared that he would kill her, just as he had killed his best friend years earlier. In one of her last Facebook posts, Zaria even referenced Obi, which sent alarm bells ringing for his family. They began to suspect that Zaria had been killed because she had known too much about Shemarcus' past and was about to expose him. But none of these suspicions could bring Zaria back.
She posted on Facebook begging for help, and just hours later, she was dead. When police arrived, her car was gone and her husband was missing. But when officers finally found him, he made a choice, one that left their children without either parent. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kennedy Walker, and I'll walk you through the heartbreaking details. You're watching Law and Crime.
I gotta about that. That's crazy, y'all. I ain't really looking about it.
Shortly after this disturbing live stream, Zaria Carr was dead. The 27-year-old mother, known online as Duchess Dior, had posted a final cry for help on Facebook earlier that same day, writing, quote, "I really don't know what to do. I need help before I lose my life or freedom. My kids need me." The post was timestamped at 5:05 p.m. By 9:30, Georgia police were called to her home for a domestic disturbance. When officers arrived, Zaria was found unconscious, and she was later pronounced dead. Her husband, 36-year-old Shemarcus Carr, a dog breeder known online as the Frenchman, was nowhere to be found. Also missing was Zaria's 2021 Dodge Challenger. An alert was issued for the car, and just after 11 p.m., authorities located it with Shemarcus inside. But before officers could pull him over, he shot himself. He was rushed to the hospital and later died. Now, their children are left without a mother or a father. In the hours leading up to her death, Zaria posted a string of unsettling messages on Facebook. That afternoon, writing, "Somebody tell me how this boy got all my texts and calls." And before that, she said, "I really be too loving and too forgiving. I'm a good woman, but to the wrong boy." She went on to say that she's been embarrassed and disrespected while helping a man fight demons. Earlier that same day, the couple's relationship boiling over on Facebook Live.
She been cheating on and off. Cheating on and off. I've been cheating. I've been my thing.
It's really frustrating. It's really aggravating when every time you hear your pick up the phone, he on the phone spraying your name. Yeah, you know my girl was they never touched me. Why are you lying on me?
But then came the most chilling part, a threat caught on live stream.
I swear you.
I got that. That's crazy.
At one point, Shemarcus is seen reaching for what appears to be a knife.
Say something else in my life. Sit back and listen. Sit back and listen. You ain't gonna make it out the door, and I'm gonna do it to you. So the best thing for you to do is up.
Zaria's exact cause of death has not been released, and authorities haven't said what injuries she suffered. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation into Shemarcus's death. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation's medical examiner's office will perform Zaria's autopsy. And here to break down this story with me is family law attorney Randy Kessler. Randy, thank you so much for coming on today.
Glad to be here, Kennedy.
So, such a sad story. Let's just jump right in. When you first saw the live stream and the post, what stood out to you legally?
Oh my gosh, just a terrible, legal and regular and civil and human emotions all blur together in family law, and it's what we do every day. So this was just one of those, the extreme. I think what we do is tough, and people go through a divorce. This is the worst, right? It's not just family. It's everything mixed in. Just a terrible situation, and you always worry about the kids. That's the innocent victims. That's where my heart goes.
In the end, the investigation would confirm the brutality of Shemarcus's actions. Zaria was found unconscious after a violent beating, and Shemarcus, in a moment of desperate guilt and paranoia, ended his own life to avoid facing the consequences. The investigation into Zaria Carr and Shemarcus Ross's tragic deaths revealed the extent of the violence that had been present in their relationship for years. Zaria's family and friends who had witnessed the abuse were left in the aftermath, questioning why no one had intervened sooner. In the immediate aftermath of the deaths, social media exploded with people trying to make sense of what had happened. There was a lot of speculation, and the public quickly divided into two camps. One that viewed Shemarcus as a man driven to a breaking point, and another that saw him as a violent abuser who ultimately paid for his actions with his life. Zaria's Facebook Live video had been seen by thousands, giving people a glimpse into the chaos and dysfunction of their relationship. While Shemarcus's family mourned his loss and defended his actions, others saw the entire situation as a tragic example of how toxic relationships can escalate to deadly violence. Shemarcus's brother, deeply affected by the tragedy, went on Facebook Live, sharing his sorrow, but also expressing regret for not taking his brother's cries for help more seriously when he had the chance. In a deeply emotional post, he apologized for not stepping in sooner to stop the violence. Despite this admission of guilt, his comments sparked anger among many, especially in the wake of the revelation that Shemarcus had been abusive toward Zaria for years.
To everybody who supported me and my family and the opposite family, thank you. Truly, it means everything. I want y'all to understand that I can't add everybody. The messages is kind of overwhelming, although I appreciate the support on behalf of me and my family. I am his biological brother. He is my sibling. No friend, no homie or nothing. Not taking anything away from anybody else, because he was very close with some one other individual. You know, I don't know if you want me to say his name or not. But I ain't with the whole, I'm not with the whole clout chase thing. I'm not with the whole, the viral moment off a tragic event. It ain't what I want. I've been going live before all this type of stuff, but it's usually just more of, me being funny or, me just, acting out, doing what I do. But in a situation like this, it definitely will humble an individual, and it definitely will make you rethink your life as a whole. Truly, I am very sorry. I just want people to know that we are real humans too. And we took a tremendous loss to our family. And it's painful. It hurt to the core, you feel it in your spine. Obviously, I see the light, it's dark, right, outside, and I got shades on. Everybody see me on the internet, crying about the tragic event. And some people wasn't nice about it. Hey, that's on them, but I'm not gonna keep y'all long. To the people that's been very supportive, me personally, anybody that have wanted to send any type of, money or gifts or whatever, send it to his mama. Send it to that man mama. That, she deserved that, cause it is an unfortunate situation, but send it to his mother. That's who, you should be trying to reach out to, send it to, things of that nature. To the backlash, it is what it is. It's gonna be like that. That's what come with it. Thank you all for who, been trying to follow the situation and, keep up with it and try to say, positive things. I've seen a couple of TikToks. I've seen a couple of Facebook reels and things of that nature. We all just got to move past it as a family and, try to, bring awareness to things like mental health and, be more active about, situations that we put ourselves in and things of that nature. I had a lot of people calling me, talking to me, being very influential in positive ways. I will not be accepting any type of compensation, just so y'all know. I'm not that, you know what I mean? Send it to his mama. You know what I'm saying? Send it to his mother. Send it to her mother, if that's what y'all want to do. I do love my brother, and I'm going to stand beside my brother. I'm my brother's keeper, and I'm going to hold his name. And, I'm going to ride for him. No matter if no matter right or wrong, no matter if y'all feel like I shouldn't or not, I'm going to ride for mine. So that's just that, I'm going to ride for mine. I'm not going to say nothing negative about the female, even though I possibly could, I'm not going to take that route. That ain't the route that anyone should take in a situation like this.
His brother's defense of Shemarcus, while heartfelt, was met with mixed reactions. Many people, including Zaria's family and friends, felt that his actions were not simply a result of personal trauma, but rather a pattern of violence that was allowed to continue unchecked. Zaria's family, meanwhile, expressed their grief and tried to cope with the loss of a daughter, sister, and mother. Her brother Leon spoke publicly about the impact of her death, expressing anger at the system for not doing more to protect her. He shared that he had begged Zaria to leave Shemarcus, but she had kept going back to him, just as many victims of domestic violence do. One of the most significant revelations in the aftermath was the connection to Obi Wilson, Shemarcus's best friend. His family had long suspected foul play in his murder in 2017. Obi had been a prominent figure in Shemarcus's life, often acting as a mentor and financial supporter. The two were incredibly close, and many in the community believed that Shemarcus had been involved in Obi's death, although no charges had ever been filed. Zaria, in the final days of her life, had hinted at her knowledge of this connection, which led Obi's family to believe that Zaria knew too much. Obi's cousin went on Facebook Live, making it clear that they had always suspected Shemarcus had played a role in his death.
First of all, my cousin is deceased, so rest in peace to him. But I want y'all to understand a few things about our family. We got some serious steppers over here. And when I say steppers, I'm not talking about the stuff y'all see on the internet where they posting up. No, I mean, we got them real gangsters that move in silence, okay? Everybody's sitting here trying to figure out, why did Shemarcus do what he did? Well, let me explain to you why. Because there's a couple things y'all need to know. First of all, Shemarcus knew that he wasn't going to make it 24 hours. Let's start. He wasn't going to make it 24 hours. He wasn't. So it was better for him to do what he did to himself before somebody else did something to him. Let's start there, okay? Secondly, everybody's painting this picture as if he pew-pewed Zaria, or if he Zaria, and that wasn't the case. What happened is that boy put hands and feet on that girl. And this wasn't something new. He always put hands and feet on that girl. Okay? Head, shoulder, knees, and toes on that girl. Let's be honest. This time stuff went a little bit too far. It happens. It went a little bit too far. Rest in peace to both of them. Okay? Because he already knew he had up. He had really bad. Everybody like, well, y'all talking about, she said Odie's name and basically that would, who the Odie? It's Obi. But see, the problem is our family started to pay attention, like, because the situation that happened with Obi was up, and we knew it was some foul play. We been knowing it was some foul play. We just been trying to figure out what players was on the chessboard. You feel me? That's what we was trying to figure out. And my auntie been saying she felt like Shemarcus was on some bullshit. Now let's be real. Shemarcus and Obi been friends for a minute. Best friends. Thick as thieves. Obi go get money, he brings Shemarcus. Shemarcus ain't have to worry about no bread when my cousin was alive. Because when Obi rode, he brought Shemarcus. If he got paid, he brought Shemarcus and broke him off. But see, the problem is when you out here getting money, because my cousin wasn't no weak dude. When I tell you he was out here getting that bread, he was getting that bread. Okay, and it might have not have been legally, but he was getting that bread. And the crazy thing about it is the way he was set up, we kept saying, this got to be an inside situation, because the stuff that these people knew didn't make sense. It got to be an inside situation. He knew this whole time that he was a snake ass dude. He knew this. He knew if it ever came out that he was involved in that situation with my cousin Obi, that he was going to have to give his to God. You understand that? Period. He knew this. He knew this. He knew this. So while he was up here pillow talking to Zaria, he ain't realized this whole time you been putting hands and feet on that girl. See, she called the wrong people. What she should have did is called my family and told us the real, but she was so afraid to say something. Because she knew if she said something, it was going to be on my cousin's grave, they all can get it.
According to them, the timing of Zaria's death and her reference to Obi's name during her live broadcast raised suspicions that Shemarcus's actions on June 14th were influenced by his knowledge of the danger that Zaria posed to his carefully constructed life. Shemarcus had been keeping secrets, and when Zaria hinted at knowing too much, the fear of exposure may have driven him to violence once again. Obi's family was understandably upset at the suggestion that Zaria had been caught in the crossfire of Shemarcus's unresolved guilt and fear. They believed that Shemarcus had killed before, and that Zaria was now his second victim. While the police never charged Shemarcus with Obi's murder, his family made it clear that they felt the two deaths were connected. One of Zaria's coworkers went on TikTok speaking out about what had been going on behind closed doors. According to this source, Zaria and Shemarcus had been fighting for years, and everyone knew it. But despite the clear signs of domestic violence, Zaria continued to stay with him. As one coworker put it, they think it's cute until it goes too far.
Hey y'all, I just wanted to clarify some stuff that I said in my video that went viral about Duchess Dior and the Frenchman. Her autopsy was released yesterday and she was The original GBI report that was released only said she was found unconscious and that he suffered from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. So if it said that she was found unconscious and that he suffered from self-inflicted gunshot wounds, I'm not going to say that he shot her. I'm not going to think the worst. Now the autopsy has been released. Now we know what really happened. I wonder what she's going to say now. My message still stands. The only thing that changes is that her cause of that's the only thing that changed. My overall message still stands. This could have been prevented. This time it went too far. This time it went too far. That was my overall message. This time it went too far. Rest in peace to Zaria. This was a very tragic ending. This did not have to happen. It did not have to go like that. I was loud in my first, second, third video, and I'm loud with the facts. The autopsy that was released, she was. This is unfortunate. Rest in peace to Zaria. It was never a matter of taking sides or sticking up for the man. Me acknowledging what I seen happening in the video was never taking nobody's side. Let's be clear there. Just because I said he didn't mean to unalive her, what I'm saying is they didn't mean for it to go that far. He didn't mean for it to go that far, and I'm pretty sure she didn't either. That's all. That's it. Y'all trying to make a thing. It's not a thing. And the stuff about Obi, rest in peace to Obi, but that didn't have nothing to do with what I was talking about. That's a part of the cause and effect. That's the part of going too far. So rest in peace to everybody that was involved in the situation, and I hope we learned something here.
The toxic cycle of fighting, reconciliation, and emotional manipulation is all too common in abusive relationships, and Zaria's tragic end became a stark reminder of how quickly things can escalate. Zaria's social media posts, her desperate cries for help, remained online for all to see. Her final posts, expressing fear and frustration, were chilling to anyone who saw them. The tragedy of Zaria Carr and Shemarcus Ross is a complicated and painful one. It's a story of a woman trapped in an abusive relationship, a man who could not escape his violent past, and a cycle of emotional, physical, and psychological abuse that led to death. Both Zaria and Shemarcus left behind families who were forced to grapple with the fallout from their actions. For Zaria, her legacy is one of survival, but also a tragic warning about the dangers of staying in an abusive relationship. For Shemarcus, the world may never know the full truth about his role in Obi's death, or whether he was ever truly capable of reform. But the aftermath of their deaths shows that there are no easy answers, only pain and unanswered questions. As the families of Zaria and Shemarcus try to heal, they're left to confront the stark reality of the toxic relationship that led to this tragedy. Zaria's family hopes her children can find healing, while Shemarcus's family continues to defend him, caught between grief and a growing awareness of the consequences of their loved one's actions. The case of Zaria Carr and Shemarcus Ross will likely continue to stir emotions as the cycle of domestic violence and the complexities of abusive relationships remain subjects that are difficult to discuss. But the story of their lives, and ultimately their deaths, serves as a powerful reminder. Never ignore the warning signs of abuse, because when the violence escalates, there are no second chances.
What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.